Yeah, getting all of these interior areas is going to be quite nice. And we can build some more manufactories. I'm also wondering if I want to build some low-level forts in South Africa or not. I mean, if I'm going to maintain a permanent stationed army, I probably don't necessarily need to. The only thing I know that coring prevents is it being put into a trade company. Trade companies ignore religion and autonomy. Yeah. And the only reason I'm converting it is because of the unrest. I don't really want to station anti-unrest armies down here. This is supposed to be more of an aggressive army. And if I ever get to the stage where Africa can just be left, I would just leave it. What DLC allows you to do what you just did, selecting several territories to control rebels? Golden Century? Maybe Cradle of Civilizations? Hang on, I'll look it up for you. It's a good question. E4 DLC. Then let's take a look at the overview of the DLCs, and then we'll go to Rebel. New ways to suppress rebels. Dharma. Dharma gave you that. Yeah, Dharma. Which is one of the two DLCs I would recommend. Dharma and Cradle of Civilization, with Rule Britannia as a third choice. Those three seem to add a lot of really nice things. Okay, manufactory time. We now have 100,000 manpower again. Awesome. So we can start thinking about this war against Mexico, because I would like to get that done as soon as possible so I can go after Cucumis, particularly before they actually develop themselves a bit more. So, going after Portugal. First of all, need to get my army home. Second of all, think I might save up some manpower. And we're almost certainly going to have to call in the French for this one. Would love to get into this, but it's so Eurocentric. Hope you weren't put off by Heart of Iron Kaiserreich tournament terribleness. It's multiplayer, and I accept that. Bad things are going to happen in multiplayer. It's just one of the sad facts, especially Hearts of Iron. There are some elements of the Hearts of Iron community that's just not pleasant, and unfortunately that showed itself. I've been doing this long enough, I know that to be true. So, no, not put off. And I'm not sure I agree that this is necessarily... It's Euros... Yeah, okay, it's Eurocentric, but it's not purely about Europe. You can play outside of Europe quite effectively. In fact, especially India is a lot of fun. I had some really, really fun games over there. So you don't have to play in Europe, you can basically ignore it if you want. Okay, so where are my battle fleets? Senku produces gold. Get in. Speaking of which, I should... it's going to be production. We're going to focus production. Because I'm getting trade ideas, and I'm also going to need to boost up production in the gold producing areas. Oh, you can't dev it if it's not a core. Ah, okay, that's what that blocks. In that case, I'll core them. Because then we can properly build them up. Do I plan to play the New Order mod? I've installed it. Rather, I've downloaded it. Haven't had a chance to check it out yet. How's playing as any of the New World stuff? It's not great. Playing in the Americas is probably the most problematic. Waffle, thank you very much for the follow. And Wyatt King, thank you also very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Alright, let's keep getting those manufactories going. We have 21 years until the Enlightenment. France! Against Chimu. That's really annoying. Sure, I'll join you. Just means that I'm not going to be able to call them into my own war against Portugal. Although this honestly shouldn't be a long war. And if my minions help out, which it looks like Neuhamburg might, then we'll get favours with them, which we can cash in on the war against Portugal and Spain. Now they're attacking Moravia, Harar and Saklava. Spain, Papal States and Liège. Oh man, this is just going to be such a huge conflict. And I'm definitely going to want to try and take as much as I possibly can in that. Liège has several... No, Liège doesn't have any. Right, all of the centres of trade in this area, you would think that Liège would just have. Nope, they don't. Merchants call for increased imports. The influence of the powerful guild has driven up the price of cloth in the Hanseatic League. It's come to the point where the traders are finding it cheaper to import goods from abroad to compete with local prices, something they claim is becoming increasingly difficult due to the Hanseatic legislation on imports. Relaxing customs would give our merchants a chance to make beneficial agreements where cloth is produced, but the guilds, who are vehemently opposed to this, do serve their purpose as well. Oh, trade. Sorry, but that's not even a question. Try and keep you all above 20% if I can. But anyway, yeah. Brugge, owned by Flanders. Sorry, Brabant. Antwerp, owned by Brabant. Amsterdam, owned by Utrecht. Oh no, that one's Brabant, that one's Flanders. Liège doesn't actually own any of them. So fighting Liège would just be for money. And we would probably have to fight them at home. I don't know why France has built so much artillery and they're just sitting there. I don't know what France is doing. Scotland is once again rebel-free. England is still having big freaking problems. And Makua have insulted me? How dare they? Hey, Roos in the house. Wilfred died. No, Wilf. I'm going to go with the... No, I'm not going to go with the tariffs. I actually want the colonies to keep the money. Although, tariffs. Tariff percentage like that, I think, basically just makes magical money. Like the trade efficiency. I don't think it actually costs the colonies anything extra. Current tariff rate is 20% of Hansanada's 13.2 ducats, setting us 0.2. That is then increased by 0.25% because we trade in slaves. But that makes the tariff efficiency 25%. So they do actually pay that. Outgoing tariffs, 1.32. Oh, no it's not. The tariff is lower. It is modified up. How is that calculated? Don't know. You guys aren't in special places, are you? No. That's owned by Ashanti, so I kind of want to go after the Cape and the Gold Coast. Kanambrunu, Oyo, and Mosi, so we would have to fight a war against Inner Africa. Oyo's there. Oyo, do you? Yeah, you do as well. That's Friesland. So we could take Benin, Gold Coast, and Cape Coast, which would be pretty huge. Do I want to send the Africa Corps up there? I'm not sure. Because we're going to have uprisings here. I think I will. I think we will send the Africa Corps. Alright, jump in the ships, head over to here, and we'll attack Ashanti. Oh, no, hang on, before we do that, I should really get a fabrication on them. In which case, you lot can stay here, and you lot can... rebel suppress. Now, the other thing I think I am going to do is I'm going to split off 15 ships, and we're going to send those back to Europe. And then I'm going to get a second transport fleet of 35 ships. Because it's getting to the stage where I could really do it too. And we only need 35 because my maximum stack size is 35. So these are the colonial transports, then the other ones will be the regular transports. How much army tradition am I getting from forts now? +1. Perfect. So it stays pretty stable at 50% tradition. I can go ahead of time in military technology right now. I think I shall pass. And we shall instead take a look at what's cheap and build up the fish. Again. Humbane's converted. Right, so we have both of those now done. We can go to war with Scotland again. That was a significant truce, crikey. But Scotland seems to be doing alright at the moment. It's just England that's having problems. And England's really having problems. Another 10% trade efficiency. No, I'm going to save the Diplo points to get the gold mines once the cores are done. Although 10% extra trade efficiency is going to be a huge amount of money. And money is glorious. Is there a reason for the specific stack size? No, not really. It's just what we are using right now. And I try to keep stacks standardized because of transportation. So I know that a 35k stack will fit on one of my transport fleets. No, this is just a decent stack for what we're doing at the moment. 16 infantry, 4 cavalry, 15 artillery. Primarily because the combat width is 36, so ideally you want to have 36 cannon in the back row. And so 36 artillery in a stack would be good. Generally I split that in half. So ideally we would have a stack size of 18. 18 artillery and then base everything else around the artillery of 18. So we're a little bit behind with only having 15. So we probably could do with expanding it a tiny bit. Right, the other thing we can do are trade company investments, which do have the potential to make an absolutely phenomenal amount of money, particularly because I haven't really been doing any of them. Like Highveld, for example. Wasn't I going to core Highveld? Where was it? No, it was the Castile game. I'm confusing this with the Castile game, which has the crazy big gold mine down here. However, now that Highveld and Senku both produce gold, and they're both in the same region, actually getting the goods produced, Brokers Exchange, would be quite good. So that's currently producing 0.37. If we got the local venture, at the end of this month, 0.37 Highveld, goods produced, production. Wait, oh, it's already gone up, 0.63. Didn't even need to wait for it to recalculate. Okay, so yes, increasing goods produced instead of efficiency significantly increases the amount of gold we got here. We could reduce the dev cost. Oh, I'm not impacting trade steering here. Hang on. Krakow is doing a little bit of money. Zanzibar is doing a little bit of money. I'm actually going to cancel Zanzibar. 20.5 ducats being sent. Transfer trade power. I have a feeling that this is actually going to increase money here significantly. Because I have got good trade steering and there is basically nobody trading here. Which means I'm going to have a really high trade steering value. Taking my first loans for a long time. 20.54. Oh, he hasn't arrived yet. 1911. Soyo increases value by 5.3. I think it again has to recalculate at the end of this month. 19.1. We are increasing the outgoing value by 5.6%. So yeah, that's going to have an impact. How am I finding Merchant Republic so far in 1.3? I mean, they're still very powerful. I find it a little underwhelming that they have the faction system, because they are now, frankly, boring compared to the estates, which everyone else gets. In terms of the changes from charters, it's a somewhat mid to late game change. So it hasn't really affected us yet, though it is getting to the stage where it might. But even then, like, most of my colonial charters, trade charters, are where I would have built them anyway. The only one that's really changed is the fact that I have a trade charter in Novgorod now. Still 20 provincial states, they removed that. No, they removed that. That is a big change. If you're not really limited in how big you can grow. Like, everything here in white, that's me. Except Austria. So, yes, we have grown pretty big territorially. Which is a nice change. I didn't like the limit before. It was too, like, completely cut off. You go over this 20 and you're gonna suck. Now it's more of a hard cap, which you do get penalties to. Governing capacity, I'm very slightly over it, but nothing that really matters. And I can increase it if I wanted to. And in fact, it would be very cheap for me to increase at the moment, because I've completed all of my government reforms. Although, one thing which I did want to do was go back over the current reforms and see if I wanted to change any of them. Trade power abroad, diplomatic relations, sortitions, corruption, and rule by lottery. Governing capacity. See, rule by the Doge would allow me to grow bigger. Absolutism I don't care about. This is increasing global trade power. We could also get... expel minorities is pretty relevant. It's such a terrible modifier now. Presidential system we're locked into. Stability or diplomat. I'd rather have the diplomat. Diplomatic possible versus admin possible. I'd rather have the diplomatic. Citizenry, morale of armies versus manpower recovery. I have a humongous amount of manpower, so morale is fine. Advisor costs and possible advisors. Minimum autonomy and territory. So now that I'm actually getting more trade companies, changing them from a 80% minimum autonomy to 70 might be quite strong. But I just like my advisor costs too much. That's only 5% though. And we do get force limits. Now the question is how much force limit? And is that affected by autonomy? Manpower is. Sailors are. Tax and production is, which will matter for the gold provinces. Trade power isn't. I thought force limits were shown here somewhere. Here we go. Reduced by 80% because of autonomy, so yes, we could effectively get another 10% force limits from all the colonial provinces if we went autonomy instead of advisor costs, and for that, it's probably good. Alright, we're changing. I'm going away from my beloved advisor costs. You're making me do it. Done. And I may as well spend this on governing capacity because we have finished our reforms. And we are now able to go down to 70%. Sortition is not what it says on face value. Gives you usually a good choice of old leaders for the rule for life to re-elect after. Yeah, I know. One of these days I'll play Sortition. I just like whatever it is that I have right now. Yeah, I mean, trade power abroad for a merchant republic and also the diplomatic relations is huge. Especially because I have the trade league to maintain, which reduces my diplomatic slots by 1. And we do still have a trade league. And a pretty big one at that. Can't see who's in it now. There it is. It's all of these guys. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nations. And in fact, we haven't checked for a while. There might well be more who would want to join us now. No. No! Oh, Bavaria might. Thuringia. Wait, isn't Thuringia in one of the big trade nodes around here? And is Bavaria really an OPM? Bavaria is not an OPM. Okay, that's still broken. It should sort out the ones that aren't. Okay, cool. Is it better to state or trade company those African gold provinces? I don't know. That's something I've been wondering myself. Because right now, we do have the company which adds 50% trade efficiency and plus 0.3 goods produced, which I feel is probably a really big boost. But the gold income is being reduced by 70%. So what's more? 70% trade production or 0.3 goods produced? And the short answer is I don't know. Because what we would have to do is then state you. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 states down here at least. Let's take them as a colonizer, but it says goods produced don't affect gold. Goods produced does. Production efficiency doesn't. But goods produced absolutely does. 100%. Which is why the goods produced is shown here, whereas trade efficiency isn't. Sorry, production efficiency isn't. It would be production efficiency there instead. And we are getting a plus 50% production efficiency, which actually completely counters the autonomy modifier. That's interesting. Because my autonomy is now 70, that's halved, so 35% production efficiency penalty for being a trade company. So we're effectively gaining 15% production efficiency because it's a trade company. Cool.